Hey guys, don't forget to hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you can be notified every time I come up with a new video. Hi guys, what's up? Thank you so much for coming back. I am Arpitabahl and you are tuned in to the Crazy Wisdom, and today it is turn for us to move on to some serious discussion. Now we know that in astrology, everything sort of starts off and ends with this cute little rectangle known as the birth chart or the horoscope, because of which it is a necessity that we have to understand it and sort of get the knack of it. Now, analyzing the entire horoscope at one go is a task in itself because one little horoscope has tremendous amount of data in it. But yes, what I can do is give you an overview of it so that the next time you look into your chart, you can get those small little things and you can gauge a few peripheral things on your own. And so today we'll be talking about these 12 houses of the horoscope where each house represents a very important area of your life. So what are we waiting for? Put on your thinking caps and your wisdom boots. Let's get on and shoot. Alright, so the typical North Indian style of horoscopic representation goes something like this, where this horoscope gets further divided into 12 equal parts, each part representing one house of the horoscope. Starting from here, this is the house number 1, and from here we move anti-clockwise direction up till the house number 12. Alright, so the first house of the horoscope is basically the house of self. You, your personality, your appearance, and how you as a person is judged and perceived when the other people see you in the world. Also this house tells us what your utmost priority in this life as an entity of this world is. That one basic, most pressing desire that you have come down here to get fulfilled in life is. So, the entire aim and direction of your life can be seen through your first house. That what is the area that you want to, and what is the area that you should be focusing on in this life of yours. Similarly, the second house tells us about our wealth, our possessions, our family lineage, and our inheritance. All the material and immaterial assets, all the tangible and intangible value that we have in our life. All our possessions, all our properties, cars, and whatever material gains that we can get in our lives, that is shown by the second house. It also shows us the desire that we have to gain all these things in our lives. Do we have an infinite amount of desire, or we have that moderate amount of desire, or we are just contented with what we have and we do not want such material things? This house also tells us about our investments, the material assets that we have, how we plan to gain them further, how we plan to manage them, and how we plan to invest them further. All these can be seen from the second house. And moving over to the third house of the horoscope, this is the house that shows us our communication ability, both in terms of verbal and non-verbal communication. It tells us the impact that we have on other people when we interact with them and try to communicate and convey what we want to say to them. Whether the way in which we communicate is beneficial for our relationships or problematic and futile for our relationships. Sometimes people say the most straightforward things and they get taken in a completely opposite manner. This house also tells us about our intellect, our mental ability and aptitude, and the wit and spontaneity with which we handle a situation. It also points out at the short trips and the type of short trips we would be taking in our lives, and our relationship with our siblings, especially the younger ones, and how nice or how nasty those relationships are going to be. The next in line is the fourth house of the horoscope, which is basically our home space, our homeland, the foundation of our life, our roots, and how well and deeply we are connected with that place. It shows us our proximity with our place of birth, whether we would be staying near to that or we would be moving out to some foreign land and permanently settling there. Now, this house also represents our mother, and therefore the relationship that we have or we would be having throughout our lives with our mother can be seen very clearly from this house. How supportive she would be, what her nature would be, what her temperament would be, what our relationship with each other would be. Would it be distant or would it be very, very emotional and well connected? All these things can be seen from the fourth house. And moving over to one of the most interesting houses of the horoscope, this is the fifth house, which is the house of romance and all the kinds of love relationships that you would be having in your life. And I do not signify marriage here. It is the seventh house which shows marriage. This is just the house of your relationships. Now, this house also shows us tells us about your children and what kind of children you would be having and what your relationship with them would be. Whether you would be a strict parent or a disciplined parent or a arrogant parent or a very lenient, friendly parent, all this can be seen. And this house also points out at all the speculative businesses that are out there. Media, entertainment, fine arts, acting, singing, dancing, gambling. And it shows us the scope that you have in succeeding in these speculative businesses. The more your fifth house is strong and positive, the more you can fare well in such fields. Also, this house tells us about your risk taking ability, how well you're suited or how comfortable you are in taking risks in your life, or whether you're a safe player. And now the sixth house of the horoscope, and this is the house of health. This is the house of diseases. This is the house that shows all the blames and criticisms that you might face in your life. It shows all the debts and the litigations and the legal matters that you might get involved in your life. This house also points out at service and the daily routine that you are meant to follow, all the mundane and day-to-day tasks that you would undergo in your life. Other than that, this house also tells us about small animals and pets and underprivileged people of the society, and the kind of affinity or aversion that you would be having towards these aspects. Alright guys, so with this, let me suspend this video of horoscopic discussion as of now and call it part 1. The part 2 of which I'll be coming up with too soon, where we'll be talking about the rest of the houses of the horoscope, where the dynamics change quite a bit because the focus shifts from self to others. In the meantime, you can leave your comments in the section below regarding what you feel about astrology and horoscopes. And in case you like the video, don't forget to leave a cute little thumbs up right underneath it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel in order to remain updated with all the latest news on zodiacs, astrology and motivation. And with this, I'll be meeting you on Thursday. But until then, don't forget to be crazy and wise until we meet for the next time. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.